Hi, this is Stephanie with Hard Rock Radio Live and stephaniesrockshow.com. We're back with a very talented, awesome drummer, Bermuda. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
He's the drummer of Weird Al Yankovic, long time, since the 1980s. And there's a new album out, Apocalypse, right now, and a single performed this way, a parody of Lady Gaga's song. I wanted to know, when you met Weird Al in 1980 on Dr. Demento's show, what did you think the relationship would be at first?
I had no idea. I don't know what made me say to Al, let's have a band, I'll be your drummer. It just was one of those things that I blurted out, sort of like, I told my wife, let's get married. It was one of those kind of moments, and I didn't even know why. And it turned into something amazing, and it's just kept going and going and going. And this is Apocalypse is the 13th album in last 28 years, and it's incredible. It hasn't stopped. It won't stop. We're going to do this for another 30 years.
Yeah. And I love that your guys' band is unique. You've stayed together. It's been almost the same lineup, every single performance. What's your secret to getting along on the road and off?
Well, I think we don't spend too much time together. A lot of bands spend a lot of time together. They go on the road for 16, 18 months, and they end up hating each other. We stay out for 3 or 4 months at a time, and we get just about enough. And it's we're all adults. We get along. But it has been the same guy since like 1982. Keyboard player has been with us since 1991. He's the new guy after 20 years, and we get along well. It's a lot of different personalities, but it's nice. It's a family. It's a big family.
That's awesome. And you guys also are unique in that you change costumes almost every song to go with the song. Is that hard to change on your own? Do you have people that help you out?
We don't, but our costume changes are not as extensive as Al's. So he's got a wardrobe gal, Rachel Romanowski, helps him back there. And his costumes are a little more intense than ours. In my case, I literally just change my top for most of the songs. And everything's kind of a quick change thing. So instead of buttons, a lot of it's on Velcro, and we're able to do those changes in a matter of minutes rather than having to take 10 minutes and tie a real tie. We just have a slip over tie, and it's been designed obviously for quick change.
Yeah. Have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction, like a wig or something come off?
I did have a wig come off one time, which is, in my case, is a real drastic, there's a couple of songs actually where I wear wigs. One is Smells Like Nirvana, and I've got my Dave Grohl wig on. And the other is in a song called CNR, which is a Meg White style parody, where Meg White, White Stripes style parody, where I'm Meg White.
I saw that cartoon of you. That was kind of interesting.
That's, Jib Jab did that, and
Nice.
and shot both Al and I doing stuff, and it was, yeah. It's neat to be animated. The Simpsons was very cool along those lines too.
Yeah. So, do you have a favorite song to perform live?
I love them all. I'm not just saying that. I love them all. There's like not a song where I dread. I just really look forward. Everything from CNR to Party in the CIA to TMZ. There's this whole medley we do where there's just snippets of like 8, 9, 10 songs. I get a little taste of a lot of different songs in a 20-minute period. Everything's a lot of fun. We don't do things that are too drudgery because we know we have to do them night after night, week after week. And some of these songs we've done for 30 years.
Yeah. Has there been a song or performance that Al has asked you and the band to do, and you've been like, that's too out there, too weird?
I don't, he thinks that through before we try and attempt something. We wouldn't do something we couldn't do. We use a certain amount of, I hesitate to say backing tracks, but they're like percussion loops and things like that, and some horn parts that come in and out sometimes. And we try not to exploit that too much. We try and be as much of a band as possible. Otherwise, someday it's just going to wind up, Al will be sitting up there and doing karaoke.
Yeah.
And we don't want to cross that line. So if something is actually too hard, and there are some songs that we just really can't pull off live without using too many tricks, and we don't want to do that.
Very cool. Yeah, an awesome band live, like lighting, everything. It's been a long time since I've seen them, so I'm really excited for tonight. Do you have a drummer that inspired you growing up?
I grew up in the 60s, so I was listening to Ringo, of course. I was listening.
No, you didn't. You grew up in the 90s. Shut up.
I grew up in the 90s. I was born, I started playing drums in the 60s. And so I was listening to the same music everyone was, and graduated from the Beach Boys and the Beatles to Hendrix and Cream and bands like that. A lot of the 70s classic rock. They weren't classic then, but I listened to a lot of different things. But initially it was Ringo, and like a lot of guys my age. But it went from there. I'm not just stuck with Ringo. I love everyone's drumming.
Yeah. Is there a current drummer that's out right now that you've seen live recently that you dig?
Not, I don't go to a whole lot of shows.
Yeah.
But there's some of today's drumming heroes. Vinny Colaiuta is amazing. Terry Bozzio is amazing. Terry lives here in town, I believe. Steve Gadd is a great drummer. The guys that are the most versatile, I think, are the ones that impress us most. There's some great metal drummers. Charlie Benante from Anthrax is great. Mike Portnoy, ex of Dream Theater, is a great player. I mean, I like the technical guys, but I like the guys that can actually fit within the music. I mean, I think drumming is not just a solo sport. I think it's something that goes in the context of a band. And sometimes it's simple, sometimes you're Ringo, and sometimes you're Neil Peart, from Rush. I mean, it just depends on the music. And I like, as long as the drumming's appropriate for the music, I like the drumming. So I have a lot of heroes, I guess.
Has the merchandise, do you guys ever get together and create it together, or who's in charge of making all the T-shirts and stuff like that?
Well, Al ultimately decides what kind of stuff he wants out there. Melissa has been handling our merch for a couple of years. She's done that for a long time for a few groups and has a good sense of that. And so she came up with some of the things, the aluminum water bottle, for example, the tote bag that we currently have. The T-shirt designs are largely based on whatever the current album is, but there are some kind of classic themes. I mean, you're not going to see an Eat It T-shirt with Al with the glasses and mustache anymore, but a wide different things to appeal to kids, to appeal to the ladies, to appeal to I mean, there's a piece of merch I wear. It's the polo shirt with just a nice modest logo. So for all intents and purposes, it's just a nice sporty shirt.
Yeah.
So there's something for the old guys too.
Your fan base can be from newborns to 65 years old. I've seen it all at the live shows. So
sometimes children are actually born in the audience. I mean, we know that they're very often they're conceived in the audience. Some of them actually, if we come around 9 months later, they come back and they give birth right. The EMTs come in. It's great. And come into the world right.
Children are conceived at Weird Al concerts. You heard it first.
That actually is not. It is true. It's true. I'm sorry.
We're gonna pretend. How did Weird Al dub Bermuda? How did that name come along?
Well, he was Weird Al. Weird Al's in quotes, and he thought that I should have a funny name that I could put in quotes, a nickname. Yeah. So Bermuda Schwartz, Bermuda Schwartz. So that's it.
Yeah. Did you wear Hawaiian shorts at first at all or anything?
No, it was just the name, the idea. There was a Bermuda Schwartz, a Dr. Bermuda Schwartz in the old Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons. And he invented, this is all the plot of the cartoon, he invented the Hush-a-bomb. It was a bomb that didn't make any noise. And you'd see it go off on the screen, it would be silent, but it would just this, and he was the guy that, So he may have known that, there was, or he may have just put the words together on the spot and thought, oh, that's great.
Yeah,
but
genius.
It was sort of a pop culture, if you watched cartoons, you knew that name perhaps.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite music video that it was fun to film or you just had a blast on set?
Oh boy, Bedrock Anthem, this is 1993, that was great. The four of us, me, Jim, Steve, Al, were in that, in caveman garb, in silver paint, but it was shot in black and white. Actually, it was shot in color and then converted.
It would have taken a while, the parody of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I had to get all that paint on you.
Well, they had horns on me. I mean, I was the Chad Smith, of course. So we all had little things that we did. Steve was Flea, and then Al was Anthony Kiedis. That was a lot of fun. We were out in the desert, a little north of L.A., out in Lancaster. Oh, nice. And it was a couple of days shoot. It was a little dusty out there, but it was very, very cool. And I don't think there's a color version of the video, but I have color snapshots of the whole thing, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
So what color actually is the paint on you guys?
It's like silver. Okay. It's silver paint, so in black and white it really kind of it shines. It doesn't look white, it actually glistens. So if you see that video, it looks very intense, but that's because we're all silver and glowing.
Yeah, well, it's very neat. I love all their videos. And check out the new album, Apocalypse. It rocks. It's out right now online. WeirdAl.com. You can find out all the information in the tour right now. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Weird Al Yankovic, and you're watching Stephanie'sRockShow.com.